As Iranian missiles slam into Gulf soil, are Washington's allies now being asked to pay not just in damage and fear, but in cash for America's war on Iran? With leaks of multi-trillion-dollar war funding demands emerging, is Washington now sending the bill to a region already bleeding under Iranian fire? When an Omani analyst says the Gulf faces military and financial pressure, is he describing normal alliance politics, or open extortion in the middle of a shooting war? And if the leaks are right, $2.5 trillion to stop the war, $5 trillion to continue it, how do Gulf rulers respond to a price tag that high for someone else's campaign? As missiles fly from both sides, is the most dangerous coercion in the Persian Gulf now coming not from Mojtaba Khamenei, but from Donald Trump's own demands? And as Gulf cities take Iranian hits for hosting U.S. assets, will Washington soon send them a financial invoice for the privilege as well? Reports now claim the U.S. is seeking trillions of dollars from Gulf allies as the cost of the Iran war spirals and pressure on Washington's budget intensifies. Omani analyst Salem Al-Jahouri says Gulf states are under military and financial pressure, facing Iranian strikes and American demands at the same time. He told BBC Arabic that Trump is pushing GCC allies both to join the war militarily and to help fund it. According to leaks Al-Jahouri cited, the U.S. president allegedly wants about $5 trillion from Gulf states if they want the war to continue, and $2.5 trillion if they want it stopped. Salem Al-Jahouri said, and I quote, "The Gulf Cooperation Council states are facing pressure, both military and financial pressure. Today we are talking about certain leaks in which the American president is demanding that the GCC states pay approximately $5 trillion if they want this war to continue. And if they want it to stop, they must pay $2.5 trillion to the United States for what has been accomplished over the past period." Unquote. These claimed financial demands come as Washington pushes for deeper Gulf military participation in the conflict. Gulf governments have publicly opposed the war since U.S.-Israel strikes on Iran began on February 28, insisting they're not parties to the campaign. Several Arab states have denied allowing U.S. forces to use their soil or airspace for direct strikes on Iran. Iran, however, insists the U.S. has launched attacks from Gulf bases and air corridors, justifying its retaliation on their territory. Notably, Iranian missiles and drones have already hit U.S.-linked bases and oil and gas sites inside Gulf states. At the same time, Iran's chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz has forced Gulf producers to slash exports as tankers struggle to get out. With export routes blocked, millions of barrels of crude are stuck, hammering regional energy revenues. Revenue losses from disrupted energy exports and collapsing tourism are already hitting Gulf economies hard. The UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Bahrain are all facing sharp losses as flights, trade and investment slow under war risk. In response, Gulf states are now reviewing how they deploy trillions of dollars in global investments. Reuters reports that 3 of the 4 biggest GCC economies are reassessing large overseas holdings and sponsorships. Sovereign wealth funds across the region are reassessing trillions in assets, including massive stakes parked in the US and Europe. Roughly $1.2 trillion have been pledged to the US economy alone after Trump's high-profile 2025 tour of the Gulf. Now, with war costs soaring and revenues squeezed, those promises are being quietly re-examined. That reassessment signals growing economic friction between Washington and the very Gulf allies it relies on. All this is unfolding as new reports reveal just how fast America's own Iran war bill is exploding. Newsweek says several more weeks of U.S. operations could already exceed what Washington spent yearly at the height of the Iraq War. The Pentagon has asked Congress for around $200 billion just to cover weeks of air operations and munitions replenishment. That request already tops what George W. Bush spent annually at the peak of the Iraq surge with 170,000 troops deployed. Bush's initial Iraq request of $74.7 billion, about $133 billion in today's time, funded roughly 5 months of ground war. In the end, total Iraq costs ballooned into an estimated $2 to $3 trillion over years of fighting and occupation. Analysts note that today's high-tech airstrikes have swapped troop housing costs for even more expensive precision munitions. As Newsweek puts it, the U.S. has replaced those costs with the even higher price of high-tech warfare. So as Gulf states absorb Iranian missiles and economic shock, the looming question is, will they also be forced to absorb the bill for Washington's war?